Stock market's going to close in 2 minutes. So I power traded this demo. I've almost got it up to $37,000. So I think I did about 13,000 today. I bought like it manually. I had to go downtown, so I left all the pendings out there that I had. But I bought 30Ks separately at the market. So when we were down at the bottom on the going into the lows here, and then I bought the same thing on the dollar CAD. After going down for 2 days, I bought very heavily into that. And I had some pendings in there. So when I came back from downtown, it was about 3 o'clock, about 3:30, so I just got out everything. So there was some spikes before when the news came out. I wasn't here to see it, but it's the beauty of placing a bunch of orders, I suppose, and walking away and have confidence that if the order market goes down, you're getting a great low price, if you're bullish. Or if you're just looking to buy something on sale. Okay, here comes the 4 o'clock, and I'm going to put pendings in all over again and do a retest entry. Very small. These are all micros, but I do have a still pending 30K down there. So I don't know what I was in here. I wasn't here to see it, but I think I was in like, I don't know, $1 million or something, $1.5 million. Okay, so that's over, and we could get a bounce tonight. Who knows, right? It didn't really matter what the news was. Notice that it's a foregone conclusion they're going to raise interest rates, but why is the dollar going down if they're going to raise interest rates, right? Well, it's on the yen's apparently going up, and Canada's coming back, right? So there you go. That was no brainer, right? Canadian dollar was going to crash. It fell out of the trend line on the dailies. No brainer, right? Ultimately, the time frame to trade is a daily, right? If you were looking for a vacuum to fill, looking for things to break down, it's obvious, right? You can trade a 4-hour chart and all that, but you really got to be quick on the draw. Here's your trend line and close. You're in before the guys that draw trend lines on wicks. Here's a wick trend line, right? So you're in before because you're timing the market when you trade the 1 period moving average. You didn't even get filled on limits up here, so you had to, if you put a limits up in here before the collapse, you missed that. And this is the reason why I say Akil Stokes is a coach and not an analyst, because he's calling for this thing to go up. I always try to tell these guys, really? You think it's going to go up now, huh? It's bullish, right? What, are you kidding me? So maybe there was a Gartley in the other direction, right? But here, look at just breakout. So I got a 5 pip grid. So another thing is, figure how many pips you want to make and set your grid accordingly, right? So it's like your dynamic range, right? If you're going to record something, you've got a window. If you're clipping the front end, there's a pad button on the front of your console. You want to pad that down so you get in the window. You're never going to fit through the window if you get in so big with such a wide stop, right? And if you bought this thing on fresh lows on the weekly wicks, right? So it's a weekly wick entry. And it's a special module. It's $150 a month for the weekly. Well, you pay per week actually for the signals. That's how we roll here. It's per week. Sorry. So you'd be above water right now if you started buying this wick, right? This weekly wick. Okay, let me fix the grid here. Stretch it out. 5 pip grid here, mind you, right? 5 pips we're talking. So I can't redraw that with all those tickets, but let's put a order bank in that starts on this wick. How hard can this be? We're above water on every trade. That's a 5 pip grid. Right? Beautiful. News comes out. Spike. You just traded the whole spike. You just cleaned up. Now we're going to get pullbacks on the yen, so we're going to try to buy pullbacks here. I'm going to get very conservatively. I'm going to start buying here at this doji, and I'm just going to lay these in. 8 hours. I could sell it here. It looks a little dicey. This is the 1 hour, of course. The 4-hour entries, you can see those, right? Here's your if you're going to bracket a small ATR, here was a nice scalp. You made 15 pips. You're going to get, if you go, if you have a script that runs with 15 pip stops, you did good here. But never forget, there is, right here, there's a 2 hour, that's an 8 hour ledge. You got to have orders up in there. It's painfully obvious that that's going to be an amazing trap zone. Plus you're trapping on the, almost you're on the daily. See, it's a daily trap. So you got to put your orders on the wicks on the daily, right? 4 hours okay, but if you really can't get to these charts, don't you know, I really don't like the 4 hour chart, honestly. I'm either on the 1 hour or the daily, because the 4 hour problem is there's 4 different brokers for the 4 hour chart, depending where you live. Now, most 4 hour brokers are Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m., whatever that is. GMT, I don't know. But, you know, there's 6 bars a day. What you're looking at really is ATRs when you're looking at a 4 hour chart, or an 8 hour chart, which you can't do here unless you go to MT5. I think you put all sorts of wackadoodle customs in there. But if you fix the scale here, all that's really going to matter is the dailies. Now look at this marked off. It's from the opening. It's from the close. So just to give, okay, look at the closing prices. This is why you don't need candlesticks, because this close is going to be where the market opens. There's no real gaps in here. You know, I can understand if you're trading commodities and you want to see a abandoned baby. But, you know, that's the only way you're going to get that. Those kind of, the candlesticks show you the open to the close, which means they're actually showing you overnight prices in a way. The difference between the open to the close. So you really don't want it in forex. Otherwise, it just looks like a choppy, blurry mess to me. But notice the closing prices. If you take the wick after the close, that's your fill window, which correlates to the 8 hour ledge here on the 4 hour. So without the closing prices, if you just looked at the range on the 4 hour, you might want to take off the closing prices. Even though it gives you a perfect top bottom here, they're going to kick it back before they go up. Anybody that was long into this fill has gotten out. If they were here to see this, they had to get out here. They bought that whole vacuum and they dump as it comes back up and seals the deal. It could still retest. It could even blow out the top. So you could put sell limits above here all night long waiting to get filled, right? So if you waited to get filled this week on a new low on the dailies, right? New low, killer trade, right? No brainer. Scalp. You didn't have to be here. Plus, you were coming into this top inside this is the launching pad right here. So it cuts through that. It even fills this top inside the bottom on close. Comes back into support. No fill on this limit order, but you would have had limit orders all the way down. If you can imagine having limit orders all the way down for situations like this, right? Buy. Okay. This is what's going on the daily charts. This is why people are getting killed on this trend bullshit. It's just bullshit. Trend trader. What are you, masochist? You're buying this whole thing, right? And you're dumping into here, and then you're buying it again, and you just dumped. So you just keep milking the same territory. It's like when you sell stuff, and you go down to that one part of town, they love that stuff. And you're like, oh my God. You almost feel ashamed, right? I can't believe these people want to buy this crap. That's always shocking. And then you feel guilty. Oh my God, I'm making money off of just people thinking this is good. Dollar CAD could retest. So here you're totally up on this trade, right? You're just above water by 5 pips on that your first fill. This is presupposing you put in a 100 pip stop to make a measly whatever here. 30 pips. I don't know what this is. So go to the 4 hour. How does this help you? It really doesn't. Like you can see the sell stop bots. you know, running the CAD with a 20 pip breakout strategy here cleans up. You don't have to backtest this shit. If you need to backtest this strategy, you shouldn't be trading. You bracket the 4-hour chart, right? You just keep putting in there. That's your stop. This is your entry. Now you've got to take something off the table as it collapses. Otherwise, if it comes back to here and you didn't take something off, what's the point? In fact, they stopped you out, right? You've got to have that dialed in. So either you're going to pull the trigger on this trade. This is your only place to sell, your only bullish candle in this whole regime. You could load up on the short side and have trailing stop. But see, the problem with the trailing stop, in volatility terms, you've just got to get out of your winners. How retarded is it to go short here and you have a trailing stop here? Oh well, I didn't look at it's I can't lose on that trade. Dude, you just lost all this money down here. So if you have buy limits down there, I get it, right? But otherwise, what are you doing? Look at this. So I don't know. The 4-hour chart. I mean, look at the daily, right? Very easy to think about daily charts, and how to trade a daily chart is completely different than how you would trade. Like I'm not going to buy stop on the top of this bar. Fuck, I'd just buy it right now if I was going to go long. So the daily chart, you can scalp the daily chart too. In other words, your buy bank starts at that low. And the people that are swing trading this thing, they're probably long from here. They're just going to hold that. You could see this completely retrace, pause, and come back to here. Or it could completely come back to here. In 3 days, who knows? And look at this run. So here's distribution up here. This is no-brainer top, right? It's obviously some kind of top. The last chance to get on the short train was to put your sell limit on these wicks. As it kicks back and it's stopping people out, you're picking up their money management stops for a ride down. Same thing in an uptrend. You got your orders in a 10 pip window here, right? How can you fuck this up? 10 pip window right there. I can't redraw that. Because your 5 pip grid there kind of takes you out of the... So there's your entry, right? What's that ratio? So here they stop you out. But here you make it back. So if you got in on this new, but here, see, you make it back, right? You get in here, and you sell into this. Your targets are wick to wick, right? Wick to wick on the daily, 4-hour. I'm thinking ATR breakouts, right? No brainer, right? Market goes sideways for 8 hours, just throwing a fucking have a bunch of have a spectrum of take profits and stop outs. But yeah, it's pretty no-brainer. So, yeah, unfortunately had to manual trade that just to get the account built up so I can really blow it up. I got about, I put crude oil on here because those, crude oil looks like it's going to melt down, like who couldn't see this coming, right? Crude oil takes out 45, if it takes out, forget it, you're going down to, you know, retest this thing, whatever that is. But yeah, it's pretty classic. So yeah, $27 a barrel. I mean, wow, can you imagine? So that would be, remember this entry? This was a nice buy new low factor of life. Nice rally on that. But see, the exit point was here. At the last note, once you got in here, you knew you had to get out here on something. But look how they run it up. And they just clip that wick. In fact, there's a couple wick clippers in there, but definitely a buy down here. Like, who's not buying crude when it comes into here? For the bounce, right? When it comes into this window for the bounce. That's the monthly, though. Waiting a long time there, but I think the dollar's screwed. I mean, look at the stock market. Non-stop. They're killing people. Non-stop. Look at this. See the 4-hour chart? This is how you trade a 4-hour chart. You got to have your orders on the wicks. You got to have your orders on these wicks. You got to buy into this plunge. Right. Here you're buying new lows. You're buying retests of lows. You're just buying in this whole area. You know, just big streams of orders. Nothing duplicating. You know, like really just true diversification. No standing waves. No mirroring it out. Yeah, 1 hour here. So here, right? Looks like a buy, right? But looks like it's still come down a little bit. So I'd buy like this. It might just keep tanking. I guess this is running in crude. I don't know. This is my first time running the script on crude. Oh, I can't run that. I try to run the first key. Let's see. Go to remove script here, see if it removes. Yeah, I don't have a crude oil script really. That one there is it just happened to be C3 key, and I guess the spreads are. See, but it won't kill the script. Now we got to force it. Uh-oh. We just crashed the platform there. Not responding. Oh boy, okay. Yeah. Jeez. Yeah. Let me change time frame. It crashed that pretty hard. Well, there goes that. We'll just get rid of the chart. Not responding. So that was pretty ugly. I had to close down the whole platform. But what I'm going to do here is just load in these. I think they last for a little bit of time. Buy limits here, like maybe it's 3 hours or something. And if this is really a trend line here, then we want to buy into this area. So you're really getting in areas, you know. Pretty hard to accept if you're a precise person is buying an area. I know when I had ordered my first car, I think I was really worried about like the paint like color. I remember really scrutinizing the paint color. Here I'm going to buy super deep. Now this is a setup last night that was obvious. 4 hour low ATRs. Once again, 5 pips on this grid, so you can see how you got to trade really fat sometimes for the first burst. So there was a breakout here. I don't know what happened first here. You'd have to drill down. But even if you got stopped out of one leg, if the other leg had profits looking to make, and of course you can see the window up here, the wick window. Right, anything above here, you're taking profits or you're going the other way, all the way up to this wick. See, at the 4 hour chart, you're looking for these 4 hour ledges. You have to sell into that or take profits into that if you're long. And now I'm going to buy if it pulls back. If it pulls just a little bit back into here and, you know, this kickback here, this is why if you're going to go long, you want to go long on limits and stops and market orders. You want to do a whole combo plate. Like here's your 4 hour inverted hammer. I'm at max zoom in here, so let me just, oops. But look at this thing. If you pull the trigger right here and put a stop in here, you could realize that whole move. But look how they come back and trounce that again. So it's really kind of death-defying. In fact, I don't know if they opened here and smashed that down. I can't tell according to this. But this is why you have to have like all sorts of backup plans. I mean, layered. This is like, I don't know if firewalls are like this or whatever. It's like a maze, right? A maze of orders, and it's like, hey, some of these are scalps, some of these are like gonna ride that for 80 pips. But that's just the idea that you're gonna get in this perfect entry and ride it for 80 pips, and you're gonna load that much money on one ticket is just ridiculous. I mean, if you split your ticket 3 ways at least, or even take a 61.8% of your ticket and put it on another tab, right? If it needs to be Fibonacci for you, you might want to use 23.1 or whatever. But it's hysterical, the stuff people are trying to do to get around reality of the risk. You know, you never hear somebody go, well, you know, it's $50. If I split it down at $10 per unit risk, then maybe, yeah, gee, maybe, right? Because you get, like, if you're buying stuff, and you're getting it from China and the ship fell overboard and you're looking at some of the stuff's broken and you're going to put it out on the showroom floor, I mean, you got to take it out of your stock. You're not going to get a perfect fill even if you own your own business. You're not going to get an order. Like, I used to order stuff from this place. And the people that took the order were just, I always had to have them read it back to me. And even at that, I got the wrong stuff. Or what they would do is they would just delay the shipment of that and wait 6 weeks till they got it in, then he'd bill me out on that day. I was like, what the fuck? Who just got into my account, right? So real life is different than, you know, a Gartley. A crab. Holy God. Yeah, so it looks to me like we could get another retest on the dollar here, and I'll just scalp it. So these are all scalps. Market's all simmered down now. And that's it. That's the extent of it. You know, trader beware. Plus, you have, you know, if you're going to babysit the market every hour, you got amazing low risk entries from a breakout. Like 10 pip ATRs on a 1 hour, right? You could have rolled this whole thing down if you're going to sit here and look for sell on every rally. Here's a rally. Sell. That's your only sell. Here's your other sell. So you're selling in a downtrend at the market every hour. So here you're buying. At the end of this hour, 5 p.m., you're buying. Or you're just going to put buy limits in there and get in something that's kind of fairly decent size. You know, if you're going to, once this day's over, it's just going to calm down, and you might only be able to make, you know, 18 pips on some high probability move, and you know, you're just kind of, you know, you're at the mercy of the fact that the party's over now. It's just ashtrays filled with cigarette butts. It's almost like real life. So some people like Asia, you know, it's a little more. Look at this scalp, 1 hour scalp. I mean, 4 hour scalp. But the question is, did you leave your order in here? Did it last through the whole day? Right. So how to scalp the 4 hour chart? Well, you're looking at the wicks. If you had buy limits here, you didn't get filled till just now. Believe it or not, that market went up, 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 up into the sell limits. If you put your sell limits at new highs, 10 pip window, right? Fuck price action. What is this price action trading? How about just trading price? I love how they put the word action in. Is this to attract the gamblers? What the fuck? How to trade price action? How about just how to trade price? How to move inventory? My fucking God, man. You know, here's another reason to put a sell limit right there. Look at all this fill. The fatter orders go on the top, naturally, but you want to be involved in something. In a perfect world, it comes up, it starts to get in, that's $1 million at the top. It scalps to here, $1 million. Back to here, you know this price exists. You see this top, you go, you know what, this serves as a bottom, becomes a top, blows through, comes back. Got a trend line built off of that last shoulder. You know, here's the floor. You know, anybody that buys this plungeola down here, where do they cash out? For the highest probability cash out, you buy this whole vacuum. Right back up into here. All right, so you be out of this trade by here. If you get in here, your first ticket, you break even right there. If you stayed through it, you're here. Why is this so hard? I don't know. People want to make this so complicated. Buy new lows, cash out. Buy new lows, cash out. Buy new lows, cash out. Buy the wicks, 4 hour, cash out, cash out, cash out. You're long right now. You're long. We could drift up, right? Or at least scalp something. Put in, the closer to the wick, the bigger the order, right? Big fat order here to scalp. Maybe a baby order to get in, goes down. It's constantly changing. 4 hour, you don't need an indicator. You just need to see how big the market's moved. The harder down it moves, the bigger you buy at the market. 1 hour chart, you just bought this and you're at break even. But if you had buy limits into this, fresh low for the day. Now, if it goes down, I would buy at the market, but I'm going to put limits in just in case I'm not here. So that's all hotkey stuff. Nice thing about hotkeys is you only got 10 trades here that you can fuck up. 10 buys and 10 sells. If you can't manage 10 buys and 10 sells, then then you would just put in the hand drops at really key areas to make money off of really high probability stuff. Obvious stuff like the highs of the day. So here's a failure swing, 5 pips, right? 1 hour ATR bot's going to get filled on the sell side here as soon as this comes back, but then he's going to get kicked out. The sell limits make money here, coming back up into that trap. It's pretty tough to think sell limits, sell stops, sell at the market. What do I do now? So having all that stuff ready and just realizing that, where do you think people have their stops if they're short? You got to buy their stops off them, right? They sell the top, they run a trailing stop. When does it get kicked out and destroyed? Just follow the bouncing ball. They sell here, they're up, trailing stops, up, cut them out, ram it down. Sell stop, they get filled. Oh, they're really going to get filled. I think we probably went up before I went. I can't see the internal of that, but if you didn't get out and take profits into this top, and then here you go the other way. So it's complete. It's a complete psycho. It's up and down. It's literally up and down. The less bias you have, the better, right? So it's so hard not to have a bias, because there's and people say, oh, the market wants to do this. No, you want to do that. The market doesn't want shit. I remember hearing this psychological kind of, things is trying to soften the blow, or trying to make you think that you can see what the market wants, and when it wants it, right? It's not like predicting a baby, like, oh, looks like it wants this, it's crying, right? It's either, you turned off its iPhone, or not feeding it something. People want to make those assessments about the market. Oh, it wants to go higher. Well, it might just want to bitch slap everybody that's long. Okay, so looking for a pullback on the dollar here to buy a little faint bounce, just a high probability trade. CAD and the there's only $3 out there: dollar Swiss, dollar CAD, dollar yen, really. And so you can have those three currencies. You could have the other. You could have pound to the dollar, euro to the dollar, and I guess Australia to the dollar. Run 6 panels. That you could kind of, but there's not a perfect sync between it when the dollar is crashing. Like something could be happening in Japan that's making the dollar. In the end, it's just about risk. So I guess I'm getting in hairy here on this pullback. I'll see here, and here's a buy stop, 5 pip, 15-minute bar. See, no fill on these buy limits yet. Spreads below pip. So this is really just going to buy that pullback. So same thing here, and it looks like I'm slightly long here. We could still get another smash down. So here's my super deep order that lasts a real long time. It may look like a bad trade now, but later on we could come down here and retest this whole thing in Asia. So I just get long there. So that's it. About on the hours here, and so Asia's going to be kind of light but high probability trading, and then of course Europe open, and then the end of the week. So God knows, the dollar could just get creamed here. They raise interest rates, sell the rumor by the fact, whatever you want to fill in the blank later. It's not going to make any difference if you didn't trade appropriately based on, how tight's your stop, how wide's your stop, because I traded without stops today. They would have had to be, I didn't have enough time to lay in all those orders for that buy. So I was totally accepting blowing up the whole account, I suppose, But I got in before the news, and there was one little sell-off before the news, and then we just went ripping up. So there wasn't really too much to, it was kind of a no-brainer. See, there's a sell-off here. Right here was the wick entry. So luckily I had buy limits down here. Here comes the news, Federal Reserve news right there. So it just smashes down 20 pips, no biggie. I'd already bought into the bottom of here, and I was hoping that some of these were cashing out. Right here is a 5 pip window. Right there. See, this is a 5 pip grid. You like one 5 pip stop? You got a penny here on this wick. Right. That's your entry. You place a buy limit there. It's just no brainer, right? You're going to look risk 5 to make 10. You're out of something by here. But yeah, this is going to be probably have to it'll have to come down into here somehow for me to get long. Here looks like a buy stop or buy at the market right now. It just went down for 15 minutes, just buy at the market. Right. Obvious signal. It's down by. Here you would have bought, well, it's down by the market, right? Here it's down a little bit by the market. Okay. It's as easy as that, people. Yeah, it should be easy to make a little bit of pips tonight, high probability.